All right, so there was a big contentious debate that was raging yesterday, Leroy, at Dolphins headquarters. Okay, so the Dolphins are wearing their throwback unis this week, and you know how I feel about these throwback unis. They're sweet as hell. All right, I love them. All right, quite frankly, South Florida sports would be better off if we went back to all throwbacks. All right, Heat, Marlins, Panthers, Dolphins, just roll it on back. The classic looks were the best looks. All right, I would say out of the franchises that need to do it the most, Dolphins would be 1, Marlins 2, then I would go Panthers, then Heat. I mean, the Heat's current uniforms, I do like them the most out of the most recent, but it's still not as good as the old uniforms were. Even the Vice ones. Right. So yesterday, Brian Flores, who coaches are adorable in this regard, Leroy, they never want to give a straight answer to anything, even if it's a cute question, all right? You ask them a cute question, you get a hem and haw, because they want to be cyborgs, right? They want to be coaching robots. They want to make it think like, I don't have time for silly sauce questions. I need serious questions. I'm a football coach, okay?
Right.
But every now and then, even the silly sauce needs to be bathed in. And so Flores was asked about his opinion of the throwback uniforms and whether or not he likes them more than the current uniforms. And you can already tell immediately he's like, man, I love the throwback uniforms. But he doesn't want to say it straight up because that would make it seem like he's a person and not a football coaching cyborg. And so here is the exchange yesterday during the Dolphins Zoom conference between Brian Flores, Armando Salguero, asked about what uniforms he likes best.
What you think of the throwback uniforms, and would you ever support having those uniforms as your full-time uniforms?
You know, I'm not a big fashion guy. It's not really, at the top of my priority list. I like the new uniforms. I like the old uniforms. I like the old logo. But I like playing and coaching football. So sorry, Mondo. That's not really at the top of my priority list. It's not really something I think about. I know there's people who love the old uniforms. I mean, but old uniforms, new uniforms. I like to coach. I don't really care what we're wearing. So if you want me to vote, I'll vote for the old uniforms. If you want me to cast a vote. So if I had to choose the old or the new, I'd probably go with the old.
It's such a struggle.
Hold on. So that conversation could have literally lasted 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
He asked a 17-minute question, right? But he could have said, "Old uniforms." Moving on.
Yeah.
Right.
Moving on.
Instead, I'm not really a fashion guy. I like the new uniforms. I like the old uniforms.
I gotta figure out Justin Herbert. How am I gonna figure out Justin Herbert if I give you my opinion on the uniforms?
Right. But if I must give an answer, yes, that's what we've been asking.
That's what I'm asking for, Flo. Please. Coaches don't want you to think they care about anything.
No.
They don't want you to get nothing.
You know what's going on in his mind, right? In his mind, he's literally probably say, I finally got the job of my dreams. Things are going well, right? Everything's beautiful. I come in here with a team that's 5-3, and I get asked about the stupid uniforms.
Here's the thing about that, though. He talks every day. So, on a Thursday before game week, it's just one question. Like you said, that could have been answered in 2 seconds.
Right. Look. Once he started down the path of it doesn't matter, I don't care, that's not important to me, under no circumstances can you ever answer the question.
Yeah, then you
can't answer it, even if you have an opinion. It's like he's mulling the question while he's answering not to answer the question, and then at the end he comes up with an answer.
Let's play it again, Robbie. Let's examine this Brian Flores, how much it pained him to give an actual opinion. That is a completely normal opinion because the Dolphins throwback uniforms are sweet as hell.
What you think of the throwback uniforms, and would you ever support having those uniforms as your full-time uniforms?
I'm not a big fashion guy. It's not really, at the top of my priority list. I like the new uniforms. I like the old uniforms. I like the old logo. But I like playing and coaching football. So sorry, Mondo. That's not really at the top of my priority list. It's not really something I think about. I know there's people who love the old uniforms. But old uniforms, new uniforms. I like to coach. I don't really care what we're wearing. So if you want me to vote, I'll vote for the old uniforms if you want.
Yes!
If I had to choose,
He's still going. Wait, he's still going.
It's quite exactly what we want you to do, Flo.
He's still going. Even after he
tell us.
answered it. It's like, oh man. It's like the guy.
He has to give a coaching disclaimer.
You ever have two kids that go to a parent and says, "Mommy, who looks better?" Well, I really don't want to say. You look nice and you look very nice.
Yeah.
And I said, but if I have to pick one, red is my favorite color, I'll go with that. But it doesn't mean that I don't like the blue.
If you're gonna hold my feet to the fire,
right?
Before
Just a little heads up, men. When your wife asks you or your significant other asks you which one you like the best, don't do it.
Brian Flores is like, oh man, I better make it clear how much I care about coaching football before I give my opinion on this. Just want to know. Now, by the way, his opinion is 100% correct. They're the way better uniforms. Armando did this piece on the uniforms. Apparently, everybody in the organization loves the throwback uniforms. The only person, and it's not even that he doesn't love the throwback uniforms, it feels like everybody's scared to go to Stephen Ross and ask him to approve it. That's what it sounds like, because he's the guy who has to give final say. What do you want your uniforms to be? And, they've had this version of the uniforms for like 8 years now.
Right.
So nobody really, it's not, listen, the Jaguars, they change their damn uniforms every year.
Is the old uniforms the Dolphin with the football helmet?
Yes.
Yeah,
What? You're the only one who finds that silly. He looks ferocious.
You have to understand, dude, that I hold on. Sorry. Masters just came on and it was in my ear. You have to understand that I spent half of my career wearing a pumpkin. And the throwback uniforms were the same uniforms we wore. So when people talk about these different uniforms and what have you and blah, 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 I'm out.
Texter writes in, Flores is the type of dude you want to commit a crime with. He'll never break. But he did break.
He did break.
He did
He's
break.
like, I didn't see nothing. I don't know, but I think he was like 6'2". But I don't, but look, I got other things to worry about. I got to go home. I got a wife and family. I'm like, yeah.
His name was Patrick. He lives down the
Right.
road from me.
Right.
Tremendous.
I mean, that was, like, you think everybody while he was answering that said, why didn't he just say that in the
Why
beginning?
didn't you just say that in the beginning? Because it's football. You know why? Because it's football. You can't ask him individual questions about anybody.
No, you
can't ask him about plays.
You want me to tell you the honest truth? Here's why. Okay? Because you can't give an honest answer without having to have this long conversation about it, right? So if he were to just say, you know what, I really like the, then Armando would have followed up.
Maybe.
And you don't want to deal with all that.
Or would he just move? He didn't follow up once he finally gave his opinion. He didn't.
I mean, because the answer was 7 minutes long. Mondo was like, oh, jeez. All right, coach.
All right, man. That's all I needed. I just needed a vote.
Right.
Thanks.
So from that standpoint, I get it. I understand it. I understand why. Like, I've answered questions and tried to be honest, and then it led me to 17 more questions. And I'm like, come on, man. Stop. You just get irritated by it. So what you try to do is you try to have a preemptive strike. So you try to give the answer, and with all questions, you try to give an answer to where there's no follow-up.
You just want to cover your bases.
Right. And so that's why a question, you start asking the follow-up question in your head and trying to give the response first so you can keep it moving. And it sounds like that.
Dolphins are taking on the Chargers this weekend. Now, here is Brian Flores on the Dolphins taking on Justin Herbert, who's actually had some success against the blitz this year, Leroy. So this is what Flo has to say about the pressure they may put on the young fella.
Yeah, I mean, when, you see some of the things that you've done in the past or in previous games show up in another game, and he's been effective against it. Makes you think twice about going that route. So we'll, we've kind of gone through the defensive game plan, extensively, without getting into, too deep into what we're going to do or what we'd like to try to do. That's part of it, part of the equation. He's done a good job against, pressure, but he's really done a good job against everything.
You know what I think, Leroy?
What do you think?
I think Flo looks at that and goes, challenge accepted. They ain't faced our pressure. Obviously, they don't have Christian Wilkins now, or maybe not Kyle Van Noy. So,
Now, do we know for a fact?
We don't know for a fact. I don't know. Okay. No, they're on the list right now. We don't know. I would imagine they have to get tested. I think they got to get a couple of negative tests, and then we'll see. Thankfully, they don't have to travel, so I would imagine that helps in their chances. I would guess. But I think Flo's feeling for it. Don't tell Flo you can't do something against a quarterback. He'll be like, oh, really? I'm Flowosophy, baby. I figure it out. All right? You know who I shut down? Whoever I want. Here's Coach Flo on, obviously, the Dolphins have to face a big-time receiver this weekend in Keenan Allen. And here's Flo on that challenge.
Yeah, Keenan's a very, very he's one of the top players in the league. Very productive, very good route runner, good hands, good after the catch. I feel like I've seen him every year for the last 10 years. He's a very good player. He poses a lot of problems, but they got other guys that pose problems as well. We're gonna have to deal with guys on the perimeter. Obviously, we need to deal with Keenan in the slot when he's in the slot. I mean, they move him around, so you can try to pinpoint where he is. But again, Lynn does a good job of moving these guys around. But yeah, all those conversations are had. Do we move a guy that's primarily outside, inside? Do we leave him outside and deal with the issues inside? Well, if we move and they don't move, we're good. But if we move and they move, now they got what they want. It's just those are all the kind of gymnastics you go through as you're trying to game plan. So we'll see. You'll find out on Sunday.
And that's the reason why
Keenan Allen's a very good player, and we know Herbert will be looking for him as he should.
And that's why offenses use multiple formations and motions and stuff like that. Because the whole idea is you want to confuse the defense so that they don't know whether they should make those adjustments or not. And if you catch them, that's usually when you have two guys in the secondary looking at each other. Just because you did that motion. And the check is a little different than what you thought it was going to be and so forth and so on. So it's a cat and mouse game with both what the defense is going to try to do to Herbert and how the offense is going to try to keep them away from that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, they faced a good receiver last week in DeAndre Hopkins, and they did a pretty good job of them. I know that Xavier had a few pass interferences, but, I mean, his production was very low for last week. Keenan, what's his difference? He's more of a precise route runner. People always rave about that stuff with him.
He would be the equivalent to Larry Fitzgerald.
Who I can't believe he's still out there, by the way. Just catch passes. That's ridiculous to me.
He would be something closer to Larry Fitzgerald and not DeAndre Hopkins.
Who's more impressive to you, Larry Fitzgerald or Frank Gore?
Frank Gore. Because in the end, Larry Fitzgerald's just running sprints. Frank Gore is getting hit every time he's in the game.
Is he?
Yeah.
How is he? I feel like he's tricking people.
I don't know. He looks like Big Boy though. He looks like Big Boy from Outkast.
You think Frank Gore gets the call from Adam Gase and he's just like, really? You really want me back for another year?
Nope.
Because I was gonna just take a seat this year, but you're gonna pay me this money, all right?
All right.
He goes, Frank, I need you. You're the best out there. I got this guy Le'Veon Bell, but he ain't you, buddy. Let's go.
That's kind of how it works, man. Coaches like their guys.
They do. It's
Just look at our defense. Look at the guys from New England.
Guys from New England, and look, the thing that's I think encouraging about it is that those guys from New England have been productive. A lot of the times, New England casts somebody off. It's just like, oh, it's not great. By the way, did you see this? Bill Belichick being all salty this morning.
I saw that, but was it being salty?
It's not. It's him being frisky. Like, he's getting called out.
Here.
I wish I had the sound of it.
I would be insulted if I had the last 20 years of Bill Belichick and somebody says, hey, your drafts haven't been good.
Yeah, apparently a reporter asked him this weekend about the lack of production of the draft picks for the last 4 years, and Belichick responded by saying, quote, I'm not going to apologize for our record over the past 20 years. I've certainly seen a lot worse.
Right. But wait, the last 4 years, didn't they win a Super Bowl with the last 4 years?
I think have they won multiple Super Bowls over the last 4 years?
No, just one.
Just one?
Think about that. Like, can you be insulted by somebody questioning you about the last 4 years and you won a Super Bowl? Shouldn't you be a little ticked off?
Well, I think the thing that's funny, the thing that's interesting about Belichick is with them not being good this year is I think people are surprised by hearing him actually say why they're not good or kind of just throwing rings in their face because he's never been in this position. It's always been we're on to Cincinnati, we're on to this, we're on to that.
Right.
When he's actually probably in the realization because he's a good coach and he's been doing this for a long time. He probably realizes this ain't getting better this year.
Right.
Like they are who they are. The whole Cam Newton's going to find the fountain of youth and whatnot. That ain't happening, man.
He didn't find the fountain of youth. He found the Rona. Turned over the wrong rock.
Oh, man. That's something. You ready to get to the snake draft, man?
I am.
You were in first place last week. You were 3-1.
Yeah.
I was 2-2, and Robbie is 1-3. So we'll get prepared for our new month of snake draft. That's coming up next.